Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name's Mike and this is Build and Tinker. Today we're continuing our build of the 1966 Batmobile from Fanhome DeAgostini. We're doing issues 11 and 12 today, which is the other half of the engine. So let's get building. So in the last issue we completed issue 11 and that was putting the inlet manifold on one bank of cylinders. So today we're going to build the other bank of cylinders with the cylinder head and put all of that together. So now we're going to start issue 11 and we have the pieces here. We'll be doing the other half of the engine block. And let's just unpack everything and see what we have. So there's another die-cast piece of engine block here. We have a oil filter, a couple of engine block brackets, let's get those out. Got some hose, a fuel filter and pump. Another piece there and some screws. Let's see what all those pieces are. That other piece was the oil pump. Okay. So to start with, we assemble these two metal pieces, which is the engine bracket. There's a locating pin that enables you to draw, just push the two halves together and hold them in alignment, and then a single screw. Let's get that correct, make sure we've got that the right way up, which we do. It's a single AM screw holds this all together, and that goes in from the top. Let's get an AM screw. And then that assembly has a peg on the back here that goes into a recess here and goes that way up. Just drops in, and then another AM screw from behind holds that in place. Easy as that. Now we need to take the oil pan. No, we don't. First we need to fit the oil pump. That goes onto the bottom here. There's a little, there's two studs that stick out of this. One's a thin one for a hose and one's a thicker one for mounting it. It has to go in at a 45-degree angle, which I've struggled with in the past. If they're not straight, they don't always go in very well. Yeah, it's starting, but not. Yeah, that doesn't want to go in. I'm going to glue that one because I think I've chewed the end of the stud slightly, so I'm going to glue that one in later. So the next piece to fit is the oil pan, which we assembled in issue 5. There's two screw studs on the bottom that go into holes on the bottom of this block. You want the deeper end of the pan towards this end of the block, and you'll see there's a cutout here for this screw. So when that sits in nice and straight, if you get it in nice and straight, that screw should be perfectly lined up with the cutout, which isn't. Let's try that again. There we go, and the whole thing should sit completely flush. And we'll just hold that loosely. It will screw into place with two AP screws. And they're going underneath. From inside the block. There we go. There it is, with the pan attached. We have to assemble the fuel pump and filter next. There is a filter that push fits onto the bottom of here. Now, I have an omission to make. I've already broken this piece. I fitted this together. I sometimes test the pieces before I film, and normally they come apart again quite easily. This one actually I managed to snap. So again, I will be gluing that one back together later, but basically they push fit together. There is a piece of hose that comes out of the bottom of this pump. There's a little stud out the bottom there, and that pushes onto that. Really easy. And then that whole assembly goes onto the side of the block. There's a square mount here. That's for this fuel pump, with the hose facing outwards that way. And that literally just pushes on like that. And then there's another mounting point here, a circular one. You can see that. And that's for the oil filter. It's not the most realistic looking oil filter. It's just black plain plastic. I might go and see if I can find like a nice sticker or something to make it look a bit more authentic. But the fitment's very easy. It just pushes into that hole like that. So that's really straightforward. And again, it means it can be removed quite easily for any amending. That was a really quick issue number 11, but what we have now is the other block from the other side of the engine. I've got a little repair to make. In fact, I've got 2 repairs to make because I've been a bit heavy-handed with some parts. It does happen. So let's have a look now at issue 12. So here are the parts for issue 12 minus the hoses. So you do get a length of hose here which you have to cut up to make the plug leads. I've already cut those to size, which is why they're not in this box currently. But we start by putting the rocker cover on the cylinder head. So it's a plastic cover, same as the other side of the engine. And then there's this die cast cylinder head, and literally one goes atop the other. It can only go one way round. Have I got it the right way around? Yes. Okay. Because it's going to eventually sit on this piece here. But first we have to screw the cover on using 2 AP screws. They go in the holes that are innermost. Easy as that. Now we've got the radiator feed pipe. That didn't fit too well on the other half of the engine. It kept dropping off. So we'll see how we get on with this one. Again, there's a hole just here that pushes into. Like so. It's actually fitting slightly better than on the other side. Again, you could glue this, however on this one you might not need to, because the exhaust manifold, which fits through these slits here at either end, when that goes over the top it actually grips this radiator feed pipe and it holds it in place really nicely. So with that screwed in place, that thing can't drop off. I don't know why it's different on the other side, but on this side it fits really nice. So just lay that there, and we have 2 AM screws. that go down into the block. Now the next step isn't really an assembly step so much as a preparation step. They want you to take 2 cm screws and drive them through the back of these holes here. Can you see those holes? And then take them out again. It's really to prep the hole for later when we attach it to the cylinder head. Now I've already done that, but that's the step that they obviously feel is important. It's probably just to clear any paint out of the threads. And then we're going to attach the spark plugs. Now the magazine says just put the spark plug heads in the block and then attach it to, into the cylinder head and then attach that to the block and assemble it. The problem then is it's really hard to put the hoses on after you've attached the plugs. So what I've decided to do is I have cut my hose to the lengths required, which is in step 4. So we cut 4 pieces of hose, one at 100mm, one at 110, one at 120 and one at 140mm. And then I'm actually then pushing the spark plug onto the hose now, and then I'm going to attach them after I've put the cylinder head on. So it's a bit of a break from the instructions and what they say, but I've found through experience that this is a better way to do it. Of course, it's entirely up to you. You can do whatever you want. So having slightly skipped ahead, we're now going to put this cylinder head on top of the block here, and it sits quite nicely on top, rests in its correct place with the manifold facing outwards, and from within the block you can see the 2 holes that they asked us to prepare earlier. We need 2 cm screws to hold all of this together. Okay, and that's nicely attached now. So now we have to go and get a piece that we assembled back in issue 5, which is the gearbox, and we take the other half of the engine from issues 9 and 10. And there's a tab that comes out near the bell housing on the gearbox, and it just fits nicely over the top of this mounting post here in the engine block, and it will hold its own weight like that quite happily. And then we bring the 2 engine block halves together, and it's literally a case of sitting one on top of the other like that. Really easy. With our remaining cm screws, we can now hold that all together. There are 2 recessed screw holes in the block here, one to the right, to my right of the oil pump, and one just to the right of the fuel pump here at the front of the block. And we retrieve another piece from issue 5, which is the starter motor, which has a hose attached to it. That is another push fit piece, and it goes into this hole here on the bow housing of the transmission, and it literally just pushes on like so, with the hose coming out facing towards the back of the transmission. And now it's time to fit the plug leads that we prepared earlier, and they literally go one at a time into these 4 holes. Now you need the one with the shortest cable obviously has to go into the hole that's closest. Because these were packaged tied in knots a little bit, they're quite hard to straighten out. But if we just work out which one is our shortest one. Okay, so it's this one. And we put that in the first hole. And then we just move up the lengths one at a time. Just inserting the plugs into their respective cylinders. And then they will come round. Oops, last one in. There we go. They're not the tightest to fit. They need to come round and onto the distributor. Now what you might have noticed is the ones from the last issue, they've been knocked off already. So I'm not going to fit them yet. And another reason for that is I want to take the distributor off and change its colour and do some weathering around here. So rather than consistently knock these off, we'll leave them, because when I'm ready to fit them, I'll probably just pop a tiniest a bit of super glue on the end of each just to hold it in. Otherwise you're fighting a bit of a losing battle. We've got hoses everywhere that have dropped off this thing. They're not the tightest fit. It's tricky because if they were a super tight fit, you'd struggle to get them on. But see how easy they pop off. So keep one of your boxes for spare hose or hoses that you're going to permanently fit later. Put them all in there and worry about them nearer the time that it goes into the chassis. So reasonably quick video today. I've got a couple of repairs to make, and but it's looking good. We've got almost a full engine and transmission here. Obviously there's nothing yet at the front of the engine, so we've got timing belts or what have you to go on there, and some other, all the different engine ancillaries. I suspect there's going to be an airbox on the top of some kind and some other bits and pieces, but yeah, it's really coming along. So that's it for issues 11 and 12 of the 1966 Batmobile from Fanhome DeAgostini. We've got most of an engine now, and it won't be long, I think, before we start seeing the engine complete, and we'll be able to start building up more of the chassis of the car, which would be great. So thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video today. Please comment as to what you're doing with your models and what you might suggest I do with this one. Remember to click like and subscribe. Subscribing is free, and most of my viewers are not subscribed, so please do it. It really helps with the channel promotion. It's nothing more than that. It just really helps get the channel out there. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. See you next time.